what does it mean to be obsessed? Dream that shit. Eat that shit. Sleep that shit. Breathe it, motherfucker. Breathe that shit. Inhale that shit. That shit is coursing through your fucking veins. That shit makes your skin crawl. That shit you can't live without. Taste that fucking shit. That's what it means, motherfucker. Everything that you do is aimed toward meeting your goal.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Large Lads, the largest show on the internet, with your host Meatball Max, Calzone Klong, Spaghetti Sam, and Tortellini Ted.
That was really good.
Kirsten's been making meatballs
I have.
your pre-workout, which is insane
Turkey
to me.
meatballs was nice because I can prep like 30 of them, and they're like an ounce of turkey each. It's perfect.
I just have never thought about doing meatballs.
I know it's like a not gym people health thing, where they'll make turkey meatballs. I've had several people that I know who aren't lifters say that, and I never considered it until recently. It's very good. And then we do tzatziki sauce with the Greek yogurt.
Due to your cut, you've been making a lot of the Instagram weird recipes.
Yes.
I think it's a matter of time until you make the pizza where the bread is just chicken.
Oh, dude, I have that saved on my on my folder.
I really think that your best content would just be making those shitty recipes.
I made one of the where you make a pizza pocket with rice paper.
Okay.
That was all right. And that was not even that deep into the cut when I did that, so...
Your standards are getting lower. You're like, these sweet potatoes taste like candy,
I'm
bro.
turning
And I was like, oh, fuck.
Kirsten used to make fun of all... She would always watch, like, these bodybuilder women be like, here's my protein recipe. It tastes just like fudge. And Kirsten's like, you dumb bitch.
You don't know what fudge is.
Fudge tastes so much better than this shit. You have no idea.
I've become what I hate.
Kirsten's
You have those grapes, and you're like, dude, these taste like just like cotton candy. It's like, no, they fucking don't.
They were the cotton candy grapes.
You just gradually start losing your grasp on reality
Yeah.
the deeper the cut goes.
I microwaved a bunch of tuna, and it makes it, they taste like Doritos. No, they don't. No, they fucking don't. It's still tuna.
Dude, I put paprika on tuna, and I mashed it down, and I put it
in the oven so it gets crispy?
Just like Doritos.
That's like fucking Doritos,
I
bro.
saw someone do that with the rice paper, where they just got rice paper wet and cut it into chip form it and then put spices on it. We're like, it's the same. It curbs the craving for chips. I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way rice paper with seasonings on it does that for you.
I feel like, because like I'm a naturally big boy,
Yeah.
but I don't have like a deep love for food, because it feels very complicated to have like a deep love for like tasty variety of food. I feel like I just naturally eat a lot, and I'm just naturally a fat kid. But like the people who are like really just like, oh, I love like a diverse flavor profile, and they're just like constantly trying to mimic it in their foods.
I'll back Max on this. Max is constantly capping on this show about like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna have an easy time downsizing. I never trained my lower back. Many classic Max hits. Max doesn't like food that much. He just eats a lot.
Yeah, you know,
Like, you see a lot of big people that get like this emotional relationship with food. Max doesn't really give a shit. He's just Max's idea of a portion has always been really big. Like, even when Max wasn't that big, he would go make his bowl of crunched up goldfish and tuna. It'd be a big bowl. It's just a big bowl.
That's why I grew so tall. It's because I was getting all the nutrients from my bowls of cereal.
I think because we are some big white folks. People always are like, oh, them some corn-fed boys, and like they assume like that's what
cornflakes.
That's what we were eating growing up. Me and Max were raised on a ridiculous amount of ground turkey.
That's true.
That was.
I feel like our mom's cooking was pretty anabolic. It was a lot of like stir fries.
It was just like top ramen, stir fry with ground turkey, burrito with ground turkey.
Sometimes ground chicken.
Sometimes some almost never ground chicken. Part of the reason we had the ground turkey is mom's allergic to ground beef, but also because it was way cheaper and mom was balling on a budget.
Balling on a budget, bro.
We grew up on most over half of our diet was just absurd quantities of ground turkey.
I feel like a person who has good input on balling on a budget for getting big, our mom.
Yeah.
Because we were like truly trying to put down like 5K. We're like, we're going to grow. We're going to be huge.
Yeah.
And did not have a lot of money on food, but I still hit 300.
Yeah, people always assume they're like, yeah, like big American, but like we never really had eggs very often. Our mom had this. We had the egg. What is it? What do we call it? My mom had this trademark
Bragacci.
bragacci, where she would take like a giant loaf of bread, hollow out. I'm sure this is like a real recipe, but it's a giant loaf of bread. You hollow out the loaf of bread, and then you just fill it with scrambled eggs
Interesting.
Cheese and bacon and
bacon
breadcrumbs.
bits. Yeah,
Oh, it's like a quiche bread bowl.
Yeah, it's like a quiche bread
Dude,
bowl.
That's how we
that's
got it.
really smart.
that and a bunch of ground turkey is how we got big.
There
So if
you
you
have
want,
it.
if
It's
you
really
want
cool,
to
so
know,
it's solidified, and you could take slices.
yeah.
All right.
It would, then would harden, and then you could just like slice it out, and we would just like take a slice of it with us for lunch.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Goated. We had to open the doors because it's too hot in here, and I'm paranoid that Odie has escaped.
Oh, he's still here.
Okay.
Our
good.
dogs keep fleeing.
Odie almost messed up my squat PR yesterday.
Also, congrats on the squad PR.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Woo,
thank
woo,
you.
woo, woo.
I feel pretty good about 800 in like the next couple, like in the next 2 months.
You had really the dream session where you took a top single and you were like, "Do I just go up and hit an all-time PR?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, hell
Hell
yeah!"
yeah.
Your last moment was so fucking strong. I was like, "Dude, yes, it's the right call."
I told you you were questioning my squatting ability just a few days ago. I was like, brother,
you said I'm gonna squat 1,000 soon.
I am gonna squat 1,000. First of all, you were doubting my lifetime 1,000 goal.
Yeah, that was before I saw that squat PR.
Exactly.
That really changed.
I've
my
changed
opinion.
your mind. I figured. I did. I tell you. I say this all the time. I figured it out. I fucking figured it out.
I really gotta become a hater more often because it seems to invigorate you into success really, really abnormally well.
But right before
I swear to God, you wouldn't have gotten the 600 unless I bet you money. The same with the 405. You just suddenly like gain this extra setting.
right before I started warming up for squats, Odie managed to weasel his way under our fence. He's almost 10. He's got arthritic joints.
And he
He's a-
weighs like 100 pounds. So
he
I don't
weighs
know
like
how he snuck
110.
out of the fence.
He weighs 110 fucking pounds and somehow weaseled out of the fence and would not. I had to fucking chase him down.
He yearns for freedom.
He does.
I also love. He does not run away. He just like
He, like,
kinda waddles.
meanders.
Like
When I was coming
we're just
after-
like he's so slow, he's not gonna go anywhere. And then every time he just like slowly trots away to freedom.
Everybody in the lifting world is like running now. That's like the big thing, right?
Yep.
Whether you're like a hybrid sprinty guy or jogging with like boobs and stuff, like everybody's running. Ooh, this shit's hard. I was running after Odie and it's like, damn,
Maybe this shit is unfunctional. Fuck.
this shit fucking sucks.
Holy shit, am I not an athlete?
It was extra bad too because my lower back is always a little bit mad anytime I'm doing a lot of like heavy bench presses in a row where I'm getting into a maximal arch. My whole body feels great after a heavy bench press except for my lower back.
It's the trade. It is nice though because it doesn't feel like injurious. It's just like a little annoying.
I know, but it's crazy how many guys who deal with lower back pain on their squats and deadlifts don't put together that it's from maximally arching the day before. It has nothing to do.
Larson before your deadlifts was such a fucking cool meta.
Yes. Yeah, Larson day before deadlift day to spare your lower back. More of your lower back fatigue and a little bit of discomfort comes from your arching than you think. The deadlifting, if you've got a decent brace, is easier on it than a full maximum arch. And it's the same thing with people being like, bench, I have bicep issues on bench. No, you don't. You have bicep issue, or you do on bench, but it's not from bench. People say bench aggravates my biceps. You squatted heavy low bar the day before. That's damage from the low bar showing up on the bench. But you have to
Yeah,
think
the correlation of it's always the worst after squat day, but it's just my, that's my heavy bench.
it only shows. It only ever shows up on bench. I never
Yeah.
feel it on the squat, but the damage is from the squat.
We're getting strong enough that we can start telling. We both did our squats. We're like, ooh, my arm's gonna hurt a little bit.
Knock on wood, not bad.
I'm dubious of mine.
I did some of my hand resisted hammer curls this morning to check how fucked up my arms would be. That Yukon bar is saving me.
Okay.
Sick.
Kirsten,
Yes.
you're cutting right now.
Yes.
What muscle are you most excited to start to see fucking popping?
That's a really good. I would love to see an ab.
Okay, and now I don't need all of them. I need one.
Just like maybe some definition there would be awesome. I think I have a little.
Okay, we're getting there.
I've been cracking down on my ab work. I've been going hard. It's gonna happen.
So an ab, big goal.
An ab. Because I'm not
And-
gonna get shredded.
Of course,
I'm
of
gonna
course.
get lean for a power lifter and then do strength
and
training.
then not lean for.
Yeah, literally. So,
We're also almost certain Kirsten has lipedema.
yeah, I don't know
Kirsten-
if you've heard of that, where it's like you carry a lot of fat in your lower body, and it's like it's really hard to lose fat from there, or at least that's the
Oh.
last. Obviously, calories and calories out, blah blah blah. But you you lose.
And
the
there's
fat
also
from your
like a
lower
lot
body
of
last.
water retention in your legs.
Yeah.
Because at one point when Kirsten did her last cut, Kirsten had like reasonably outlined abs. She had like separation in her arms, a bunch of detail in her back, and
Nothing
then
in
like
the legs.
knees were still swollen. And we were like, damn, that's kind of weird.
Tube
And
legs,
Kirsten
too.
saw
I
this.
love the fat powerlifter guy build where for some reason you don't hold any fat in your legs.
I love
like
the
weird veiny separation in your leg.
I love
just
how
an
that-
enormous gut.
like every like ultra squatter guy has just like giant beer gut, like they're fat face, everything, and he pulls
Quad
up
vein.
his fucking pant leg. It's like there's not an ounce of fat stored on your legs. That's fucking the number of guys we've seen like that. There was like
Well, sometimes I'm like, oh, your leg is small. It's like, no, it's just weirdly lean. Like,
Yeah.
proportionally, everything on you has so much more fat than your leg for some reason.
yeah, like there was an old video of like. We've seen this with a bunch of elite super heavyweights where they like roll up their leg, they flex their leg, and it's like, how do you have deep cuts at fucking 35% body fat?
It's crazy.
Just none stored
Ray
on the leg.
having any separation, I remember being like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, it's like
Well,
that's
you also don't carry any fat on your legs either.
no, yeah, I don't really put much on there.
Yeah.
But you were the I remember we saw this lady on Instagram who's like she's got her doctorate in something medical, and she's like a lipedema, and she's like, I used to think I just had a unique body type, and then I started reading what lipedema was, and I was like, oh fuck.
But I got my quads a lot bigger, so I have a lot more hope that there will be a quad shape. That
And,
Just
and
quad-
anything else you're more excited to see popping?
All we're aiming for is quad shape. We're like,
Quad shape.
Quad shape and an ab.
Yeah.
Okay.
we might not have like big separation as long as there's like a real robust quad shape. We've
And
No,
maybe-
no tube leg and a fucking ab, bro.
Literally.
All a fella can ask for.
You know what? I got one of my notes written down. You know, it winds me up, and this happens all the time. You were saying like it's like a really common early, mid, intermediate trap to fall into, is caring enough or so much about your lifting that you are genuinely extremely upset that it didn't go well when like after like you test a maximum, like you're in shambles. You're really like you see these people that are deeply upset with how it went.
Yeah, who the fuck would do that?
Where the fuck? Wait. Let me get to the real part. That's fine. Giving a shit is awesome, right? Like I'm fine with my lifters being like upset after maxes. I'm like, if you weren't upset, you don't care, right? I like seeing people that care because they're gonna get better results that way. Where the fuck was all of this caring when you were doing your accessories? I saw you. You do care. Where was that care on that bullshit set of leg extensions?
Yeah, the lack of connection is really, really big. Because I that's a thing that I always am reminding myself of whenever I'm doing my grip work, where I'm like, can you imagine how mad I'm going to be if I drop this shit, bro? Don't drop it. Like, just having the connection of, like, this work is directly, like, inhibiting my ability to not fuck up later on in the block.
Yeah.
Because, ooh, I hate this. Like,
That's part of the
holy
reason
shit.
I love training alone. Is like I can make sure that connection stays more clear in my head of like I am doing this because I want this, and that needs to be in my head on every exercise because then I have motivation, right? Which actually ties into like something
Motivation is nothing to obsession.
else. It's a king to a god. That kind of ties into another talking point I had, which is sometimes you need to do things more often to stop hating them. Because I think sometimes with motivated athletes, when they fully understand and have seen what doing XYZ thing does for their lift, like once they like truly believe and have seen the results it gives, they automatically have motivation to do it because on a deep level, they know what it's doing for them. Right. And so like some people, they don't really buy into their accessories. So they're not motivated to do them because in like deep down, they don't believe they're going to help. But then once you like make that connection that, oh, this helps, you'll be motivated to do that. And I think that like that goes all the way out to if you feel like what you're doing with your deadlifts right now isn't working, you're not going to be motivated to do it.
Yeah.
And even more broadly than that, if you know you're just deadlifting shittily, you're not going to be motivated to do it. Right? So you'll be doing this lift really infrequently. Because you're doing it infrequently, you're underskilled. And because you're underskilled, it just feels wrong and unproductive. So you need to bite the bullet sometimes and do a light session. You need to do it more often to where you're doing it well enough that you actually feel like you're doing something good.
When my deadlifts, because I have much better deadlift leverages than you'd think looking at me now. Wait.
So it is funny how much people's ability to see not just it's the fucking casuals. It's ours too. When you get fat, everyone looks stubby eventually. Like,
Well, I've had people cite me as like, oh, this is a guy with bad deadlift leverages really succeeding. And it was like,
and when you were younger,
for the
everybody
longest
said,
time, everyone was told me like, oh, you have horrible squat leverages and really good deadlift leverages.
yes, and then you got fat, and now you got great. Well, that's part of your leverages. You know, a perfect example. Benny when he cut down. you could see, I'm like, oh, you have crazy long arms. You're built amazing. But Benny, when he was fully bulked up to 400 pounds, looked like a round, short-armed man.
Yeah, you're still just locking out on your hip crease.
Cracked leverages.
Everyone's arms are the same length with your 400 pounds.
Shit, man. If Dan Grigsby bulks up enough, he'll look stubby.
I was gonna say my strat was I would just go pull every single day before every session, and it genuinely made like a huge difference in like just like building that like motor pattern of like it didn't make my pull look pretty, but at least felt less junk. And the same thing with my squat when I like obviously I don't have like super long femurs, but like I had longer femurs. It was like 6'1". Squats just felt so unintuitive, and us squatting more often was the thing that just made it feel like. Cause I remember being like, "Oh, it feels like I'm having to go down 10,000 feet into the hole."
Yeah,
like I was like, it just feels like shit to have to like go down that far. Obviously, that's just like I wasn't strong enough to stay in those positions. But like doing it more often kind of just like negated that feeling of how much I was like, this just feels like ass.
Well, and that's the low frequency trap is if you just keep then like you're like I'm motivated to get this lift better, but it feels like dog shit. So once a week, I'm just gonna push through using grit and do a bunch of like hard dog shit feeling sets. And it's like, it's always going to feel like dog shit. And you might be able to brute force it for a while. And just by like, I became a bigger, stronger guy. And so I can shittily squat more weight. At some point you need to make it not shitty squatting. And it's not leverages, right? Some guys have cooked, absolutely fried leverages. And people say, oh, your squat is ugly because it's leaned forward. But me and Max look at that squat and say, no, he's squatting fantastically for his leverages. Like you watch
Sir Dave?
Sir Dave. What's Sir Dave's name? Dave Richardson?
Yes.
Dave Richardson. Sir Dave on Instagram. Heaviest ever stiff bar deadlift, conventional. He pulled 960 on a stiff bar. Amazing lifter if you haven't heard of him. One of the best deadlifters.
Also, period.
Yes. One of the best deadlifters ever,
Oh,
period.
I meant it's the heaviest stiff bar deadlift ever.
That's what I said.
Regardless of stance. Conventional.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah. Amazing deadlifter. Obviously has amazing deadlift leverages. He's very leaned forward, but it's perfectly synced up, right? There's no loss of positioning. There's no asynchronous rise of the bar and the hips. He loads into the bottom immaculately. It's like, there's going to be people on the internet who are like, it doesn't look like Lu Xiaojun's squat. And they're going to ignore the length of his legs, right? It's like, okay, those people are dumb as fuck. Ignore them. I see that. I see a great squat. Maybe he has to do less volume than the upright squatter, but that's a good squat. If you want to be really good at squatting, eventually you need to be a skillful squatter and you need to do it more often to get there, probably. Some guys can just really lock in and focus so much on their 1X, but most people, frequency unlocks efficiency, right? And it's like you can only squat. You see, what's his name? Farmer Strong Man. Powerlifter, huge Steve Bake. Steve Bake was a perfect example of just like as generally strong as a human can be, right? Like if you toss him on machines, weirdly competitive with Half Thor, weirdly competitive with Colton. That guy, like if you just tossed him on a bunch of machines at the gym, as strong as anyone. Big deadlift, massive bench press, never figured out how to get his squat good enough to contend for the total record because he was always trying to general strength his way through it. But at some point, you need to be a good squatter to actually get to the limits of what you can do. And squat is like the extreme example of that. You could low frequency bench and just get big as fuck.
I also greatly appreciate Steve Bake's legacy as the guy who was world class strong.
He's still strong. His legacy.
The thing that I would say he's most remembered for in my brain.
Yeah. He's still whooping our ass. He's kicking our ass right now.
Back in the day when he was good. Being like an actual world class strong guy doing shitty power rows and just how much stronger and better he is than all of the shitty guys.
God bless Steve Bake because everybody be like, look at this 5-plate power row, and it's like
he's doing 545. Steve Bake did 735.
735 to the same standard. That's what real strength looks like, baby.
What the fuck is that?
I was making today's intro and I'm like, oh man, I'm fired up to get big and strong. I feel like I'm finally getting there. I'm finally getting to really big numbers like the guys that I used to watch when I first started.
It's so weird, the number of intro clips. I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing this now. That's cool. Like when I think about like cool stuff I remember growing up, like, that's the most bad. Obviously, we came up in the era where raw lifting was first getting started, and there was some
its infancy.
Bums that were remembered better than they were.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, maybe I'll start naming names, actually.
Not a negativity podcast. Moving on.
I love the history of powerlifting, and I have great respect for all of my forebears.
Kirsty, how's your training been going, big dog?
Bench PR.
Boo, 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 boo.
And I think I got another one coming this wave too.
I think so. I'm really surprised how quickly you got back. I thought it would take. We're on our second wave of this higher specificity, more singles practice. I thought it would take you at least 3 waves to match.
Yeah.
It speaks to the quality of the bodybuilding work you were doing between.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference between people who are looking for a way out of doing hard work and they're like, I'm gonna do an off season, and really they just mean like
Ugh, bodybuilding phase, bad, bro.
Every time-
and they just do like RPE 0,
Yes.
like do a couple sets and they're done.
the number of times I've met a power lifter who's like got tired. They got tired of lifting heavy. They got tired of hard sets.
Training hard.
And so they're like, well, I'm just going to do a bodybuilding phase. And I was like, you don't know what that means. What you mean is that you're just going to fuck around and do like just junk, like million RIR sets. Hard bodybuilding is harder than what you're doing right now. That's not what you're going to do.
It is funny the number of them that like were like, oh, I'm gonna sleep less and like eat less clean for
Yes.
my bodybuilding phase. Where it's like, that's the exact.
Yeah.
Not what it is.
Yeah, so I'm going to slack on my diet and train less hard.
I think
Like,
you're gonna look
way
for my bodybuilding.
You're gonna look way better, Brian. But yeah, the number of times power lifter goes, I'm gonna do a bodybuilding phase. They really just mean spin their dick around for 6 months and then start their next prep and then be surprised when they're no better off. Versus sometimes, plenty of times, right? There's especially the people that like we work with, or they know what they're doing, and they're like, I'm just gonna go do my own thing for a bit. I'm gonna do bodybuilding training, and they come back and they're in a better spot. I'm like, hey, guess what? You didn't spin your dick around for the last 6 months. Yay! And so it's kind of that where it's like, oh, you were doing effective upper body training. The
Yeah,
whole
it was
time.
log booking my
And-
upper body training, so therefore it makes sense that it was that easy to come
And
back.
it was like well selected volume, like it was well rounded, right? And then you come back and you get back into the skill of bench pressing, and the fact that we were able to get a PR off of a 2x bench frequency for you,
It's
I'm
crazy.
like, damn.
You're creeping back up on your squat and deads too.
Yeah, and my squat tech figured it out. So
Boom.
we're in the clear now. It's all gonna be great.
Let's go.
Kirsty had a
That's
bad
awesome.
squat day the other day from being tired, and was like, I'm gonna stay late in the gym the next day and figure it out, right? And I was in, Max was like, oh, where's Kirsten? I was like, she's still out there squatting. It was like after bench day. And I was like, she's like squatting over and over to figure out her technique. And Max is like, dude, hell yeah, that's some like OG Max stuff. That's awesome. I'm glad you didn't
She's
stop
got the fire.
I was like, I'm glad you didn't stop her. That's like a sign of motivation. I'm like, it's like, it is a good overall sign. But I turned to Max and I was like, she's just going to go until she gets hangry and then crash out. And then I walk into the room and Kirsten is planking face down on the floor and be like, I go, how you doing? And she goes, I suck at squatting.
I would say that's just a part of becoming good at squats.
And then
about
we
good-
figured it out.
That's called giving a shit. Have you tried it?
I would say that's a necessary step of like fail so hard that you lie on the floor face down, succeed.
And then you fix it. Exactly. So I'm ready now.
But yeah, we're like locked in. The only thing was just you had to bring, you were going narrower stance
Well,
for
because I had
bodybuilding.
trained my quads so much that I was thinking quads when I was squatting and nothing else.
When I also think that like you were, before you, like in your off season, you were squatting for the sole purpose of quad
Yeah.
development. And that's going to probably be better done from a little bit narrower of a stance. And you just didn't adequately widen it back out when you returned to like even more of a, it's still quad dominant, but
Yeah.
more of a well-rounded squat.
Well, because it feels so weird to even have like a slightly wider than hip width stance now because I did so much narrow
So much
stance.
volume, narrow stance.
Like even on like machines, obviously you have a narrower stance. So standing at the top of the squat with the stance that feels good at the bottom feels so weird at the top, and then I start going down and it feels great.
That's a good topic.
All 3 of us have hit all-time PRs this month.
Yeah,
That's pretty
pretty
rad.
sick.
that's pretty cool. I was going to say, I'm feeling pretty good. One, I'm feeling pretty good about a 635 bench. I am
it-
so much stronger than last time I was working on the bench.
Dude, fucking crazy. It like really was like an exponential curve of like the first few weeks. It was like not that like it was like you're
Yeah.
getting back into it. You're clearly were being safe and not pushing it. You're
Yeah.
like my pack feels kind of shitty. You're like I'm not gonna push it with my pack feeling weird. Just gotta reacclimate to this. And you have had the most insane like it looks like your E1RM is going up by like 10 to 20 pounds every session for like 5 sessions in a row.
Well, I pride myself a lot on like bench.
I was
and-
neck and neck with you there for a second. I was like,
He was
dude,
not.
maybe I also will quit.
He was
speeding.
not. He was not.
What do you mean? I had sessions and I beat you.
Yeah, because I was racking it at more.
Uh,
I feed up benched your current maximum on like week 3.
I also could do that though. I'm not very good at using my legs.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck. I take a lot of pride in like bench press and the lifts that I'm more familiar with. Like I think also like deadlift. I'm good at. I think when when you do strongman, especially, you like stop doing things because you can't do everything at once. So you need to be good at the skill of then reintroducing something. And like Martins talks about, like, always run a motor learning phase before you run a volume phase. Don't just start trying to build hard volume. Get the form clicking and then build volume. Don't build shitty volume. And I'm really good about that on like the bench and the deadlift, where I will just, it looks like I will spin my wheels for 1 to 2 months before I'm like, finally, okay, that's right, and then I'll start pushing it. And it sets me up for so much better progress. And I did that on the bench press, where it's like, I really wasn't trying to beat the book at all. I was just like, oh man, I need to do more pec mobility. I need to do more pec mobility. I needed more pec mobility. And then finally I was able to open my chest enough, right? The biggest thing that was like, it was my T-spine still opening up, but my pecs were not able to
I've already been 600 your T-spine, but sometimes just not opening up.
No, it was very rarely. Honestly, ever since I've gotten my deadlift up, my T-spine does not arch the way it used to. I was going to say, this is an interesting topic, though, that you guys have had to deal with a bunch, is guys will really paint themselves into a tough spot where they've done all of their squatting from a narrower stance. Their hips have gotten not very strong, and you can see very clearly that to get their squat better, they need to go a little wider. But their hips are weak, so it feels atrocious. So they don't believe you, and they're like, no, this narrow stance is better for me.
Yeah.
No, this narrow stance is better for me. I used to have a guy that I coached who was this big Clarence Kennedy fan. And he was like, oh, I put my feet right together because that's like what Clarence does. And I like sent him a video. I was like, look at Clarence's feet. They are full shoulder width. They are not what you're doing. You're hiding from weak hips. He doesn't have weak hips. There's a big difference between these two things, right?
That's a classic mind game. If you really want to be like Clarence Kennedy, you need to have stronger hips.
Sure.
and so it's tough because like if they try to eke it out, it's gonna feel bad.
It's almost just like pull the trigger and be like, this is a new squat
Yes.
form. Fuck it, we're just doing this.
When
Learn
you've
it.
done the same thing, like you had a client like this and you were asking me, and I was like, you could start with just say, hey, on your secondary day,
Pause
I
squat
want
day
you-
is wider stance.
pause squat from our desired stance. And just like that's to get a foot in the door to get there, right? And like maybe run a whole block of that, and then they'll start. If that progresses enough, then they'll start wanting to throw their comp day a little wider.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like you said, you just gotta fucking bite the bullet and send it. Like start of the block, maybe we take a little off your E1RM. Maybe we assume you're gonna progress that fast over the block to where it's okay. Just take it out 1 to 2 inches and stick with it. Do a little bit of extra. Sometimes unilateral work helps. Sometimes it doesn't help though because they're already used to always having their knee in the middle, and
Wait,
they
you
need
just
to
do your unilateral work from an in position.
Yeah, they're just
even
doing-
like a Cossack squat. You can sit on the fucking inside of your
exactly.
foot.
You could roll in on the squatting leg on a Cossack squat, right? So like sometimes like I find that deep leg presses actually like the RP style, like knees out. A bunch of people are saying like, hey, those aren't as good as for quads as we used to think. You know what they're good for?
Hips.
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 Get your adductors strong. So like this like ATG leg press from desired squat stance, super helpful. Adductor and abductor machine, super helpful. But I was curious if you guys have seen with your lifters anything similar to where I'm like, I know this is gonna feel shitty at first and it's gonna crush your buy-in, but I know it's gonna be better for you. And what have you done to like
Pause benches. That's a really obvious one.
actually pausing your bench press and being like, well, I don't want to pause 10 reps. Cry about it. Pause them.
I feel like a lot like the more experienced you are, right, the more initial changes are going to feel like ass. And it feels like the real conundrum of the intermediate is you've gotten good enough at doing a lot of things that like, and you haven't done it, like you haven't gone through the cycle of making a change, having it go ass, and then getting to reaping the benefits, that it's like the initial time of like being like, I don't know, it seems really fucking stupid. Like, it is so frustrating to do 4 sessions in a row if you're big deadlifts, like this is my main deadlift week, and all 4 of them feel shitty.
Yeah.
And have somebody like, no, it's gonna work,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, and that's because sometimes you're wrong too, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the danger of like we've talked on the podcast a bunch about how there's 2 different schools of thought, and probably most smart people use somewhere in between. Where there's bottom up technique, which is your body is going to like by doing challenging sets, your body will learn strategies to get the weight from A to B successfully, right? Like your body will show you that rounding your upper back lets you do more reps.
Yep.
And that is school of thought 1. And we're all of 3 of us are of the opinion that you can take that too far and then it runs you into a hard plateau.
Yep.
And then school of thought 2 is that there is an ideal technique, or more realistically, there's like parameters that everything should work from that you work down to. And even if in the short term you're stronger with this ultra round back, maybe that'll get you your fastest 405, but your fastest 500 will come from adhering to this top-down technique. And basically everybody good falls somewhere in between the two. But man, it's tough to convince people who have really seen the benefits to just letting their body learn for them. It's really tough to get them to take the step back and use a technique where they get less reps.
Shout out to all of my Worm Chad clients that believed me when I told them they need to flat back deadlift. You guys are real G's for letting me take a bunch of weight off of your
big shout out
UNRM for a second.
Yeah.
Because that's another one. That's a hard convince too.
That is a lot, especially because it's like how much you have to be like, all right, you're stripping a lot off the bar.
Right. If you're like a true Worm Chad deadlifter,
Yeah.
that
Like
could be
you were
an
a 550
insane-
puller. You're now a 450 puller
Yeah.
again for like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
I have
that sucks.
Well, I
bro.
have a guy who's a fucking 700 puller, right? Who's just kind of worked his way out. It's Zane. What's up, Zane? I love you, buddy. Great squatter, great bench presser. Man, was just like the quintessential example of a guy that never learned a pure hinge early in his training, but really gives a fuck about powerlifting and just kept brute force position.
Insanely impressive, by the way, to
Just-
brute force to 700.
Keep going, keep
Yeah.
going, keep going. And he's like, fucking, never had like a full wind back. And we are trying, instead of doing that full reset and building building like from the ground up, we're still going with like more of a concurrent fix, which a lot of you guys could do if you don't want to do the full reset, which is like make your secondary day a true flat back RDL. And once you're able to do it, a true flat back stiff leg where you have to find a flat back in your start position, tension a flat back and pick it up. And that number is going to be painfully low to start and build it and build it and build it. And then on your main day, don't reset completely. Just build in cues to get more of a pure hinge present and present and present. That's what we're doing with Zane right now.
That's what we did for me.
Yeah.
I had a really nasty like body finds positions through sheer will
Yeah.
style pulling. It took me like 2 years to finally start pulling good.
Yeah.
Which that sucked.
Yeah, and you could go either way. I think sometimes like you have to evaluate your perceived risk of injury, right? Where like Max was young and made of rubber, so we felt like we could fix it concurrently, and that worked out pretty well. I assessed that I think Zane is in a spot where I'm like, fuck it, we'll just fix this concurrently, and you could sneak out some, still improve your deadlift a little bit in the interim, and it will be a longer process, and that's okay. It's the same thing of like when you have a little tweak, you got two options. You either like take it pretty easy on that muscle and drop back to like pain-free and build up from pain-free, and you'll be able to rehab that pretty quickly. Or you keep working through it and getting in the touches that you can, and the benefit is you can maybe maintain some of your training momentum. The downside is it's going to take 2 months instead of 1 month to go away, you know? And you just have to make that as like an informed decision.
Or if you've dug yourself a deep enough hole, 2 years if you're fucking me.
Another one is the really shoulder dominant bench.
Yeah,
like
it's a
really low touch.
Yeah, super low touch point.
'Cause the number of
They'll
people
roll the shoulder forward. They won't keep their sternum high.
Because the number of people we've seen hit a hard plateau with that form is like enough to say that's gonna run most people into a plateau.
Yeah, I apologize if I'm not going to be able to like being able to spot this super easily, but like how high you keep the sternum is a big part of this. There are limitations to how far you can take a shoulder dominant bench press. A shoulder dominant bench press as an accessory for strongman, or a shoulder dominant bench press as a general strength thing for rugby, that's all fine. But if you want to take your bench press as far as possible, a shoulder dominant bench press tends to be limited. I would say the only exception, one of the best benchers ever, Jeremy Hornster, had a pretty shoulder dominant press. But outside of him, in high level results, we generally see a little bit more like elbows are a little bit more flared often. At minimum, the sternum stays a lot higher. We don't see this kind of internal rotation at the bottom. If high level bench pressing is your goal, do that. I also think that not that the average natural trainee needs to worry about it, but you also see those guys, the shoulder dominant bench pressers are the ones who actually tear their pecs more
Also,
because
they have constant shoulder pain.
yes, they're like,
All of them are just like, dude, my shoulders hurt when I bench press. I was like, yep. You're
bench
using
press
it too much.
bench press as a shoulder exercise, maybe not the best pick. But like you see guys who are like they're very short in their pecs, but not very developed in their pecs, and they have to do this big internal rotation. They're relying a lot on their shoulders. Conversely, they also tear their pecs because their pecs are not very strong. Like Halfthor, I was worried because I was like, obviously as a strongman, very shoulder dominant, wouldn't be able to open. His head would always lift off the bench and very short in the pecs. that's the guy who tear it. Several like local powerlifters that we know that cannot get a touch to their chest without lifting their head. At that point, you're so immobile and limited in your pec development that I think you're at a little bit of an elevated risk, which is a very not evidence-based thing of me to say, but I still think it.
Boys, what are our favorite supersets?
Laterals and rears.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Pick any. Like it could be Lou raises. You could go like more pure muscle gain perspective and go like cable lateral and then some kind of like nice rear delt exercise, or you could go overhead function and go like Lou raise, Powell raise, or Lou raise or Y raise and Y's and T's, right? Like prone Y, prone T. I've always thought that from a strength athlete perspective, work capacity in the shoulders is a really like important quality, because as soon as your shoulders start gassing, they get really unstable, and that's like, it's when my shoulders gas out early is when I would tweak my rotator cuff.
Yeah.
So having like some muscular endurance in my shoulders, I always found was like just as important as them being big, and so training with that in mind, I always found really helpful. So that's mine is like by far is lateral delt exercise of choice and rear delt exercise of choice, and it makes the sessions less brutally long.
Chins and dips
Dude,
as
I was
a
gonna
workout.
say that. What the fuck?
So fucking rad, dude. That is one of those ones where I'm like, if I ever have a gym session, then I'm like, oh, it's an upper day, and I have 20 minutes.
Yes.
I'm just going back and forth
whole-
between chins
so
and
good.
dips.
The whole 20. I 100%. I've thought that. I'm like, if I was just trying to like stay jacked or get jacked off the most limited time, I'm running chins and dips. I'm just running back and forth chins and dips, and then maybe some kind of row and an overhead press on another day. Just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Go hard.
I had one of the dudes like, yo, dude, I have time for a fifth session, but I have 20 minutes. And I was like, we're doing nothing but shins and dips, baby.
I like abs and deads. I really just feel like it doesn't detract from the quality of the deadlift at all. If anything, it makes my brace feel a little bit better, makes the deadlifts feel a little bit better, and it makes deadlift days, which are one of the days that can really drag on to be really long. It takes something that you would either do at the beginning or the end with the abs and just builds it out to the deadlifts to where it really doesn't add any time.
You know, it's hit or miss. Some of the Rat Pack guys like it. I don't like hamstring curls leg extensions.
Yeah, I think most,
it doesn't feel good. Like,
well, in most gyms, if you don't have a home gym that's really nicely equipped, that's kind of a dickhead thing to do. I feel like I'm getting in the way.
I just trained at Spanaway at 1 a.m.
Leg extensions and lunges.
Oh, that's a fucking brutal one, dude.
Well, I don't want to have to look, like, for me, right, like, I want to actually get proximity to fail on my lunges. I am really strong at lunges, right? Like, I've done 3 plates aside on a barbell, and I got out to, like, 13 steps per leg, right? And it's like, I don't want to fucking do that. After my big squat day, I want to get my, like, and so I understand the mechanic, I understand the limitations, like, supersets are dumb. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna do some leg extensions.
I remember I saw one of the dudes at one of the old powerlifting gyms I went to was doing Bulgarians, but his back foot was on the leg extension pad into leg extension drop sets, and I was like, holy shit, he wants it more than me.
Sissy squats after leg extensions.
Ooh.
To get
That's
like
a really good one.
You get the leg, like actually get your like fail set in on the leg extensions, and then just get some. You only get a couple of reps, but you'll get some nice length at rec fem as well, and really stretch them out. Because sometimes I feel like after quads, my quads tighten up so much that my back feels shitty or my walking gait is bad. But if I do like a deep lunge or a sissy squat afterward, then I feel like I'm stretching it out right after the set, and then like for the next few hours, I walk more normally and my back doesn't hurt.
In the same way as abs and deadlift, pull downs and bench.
That was another one.
Fantastic pick.
Yeah.
Fantastic pick.
I feel like that like it teaches me how to bench better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always feel like even if it's not done as a superset, I've always felt like the vertical pulling pairs better with the bench press, because scapular depression, I would argue, is more important than your retraction a lot of the time. So the one that biases the depression, and then I almost felt like the chest support rows pair better with the overhead presses, because the retraction matters more, or like I guess the upper back development, the trap development, the rear delt development is more important for the overhead press than it is for the bench press.
Just a pullover too. Obviously, I have not run those as like a serious like primary mover, but those as a bench accessory.
Yeah. Do you have any other ones? Not really.
I was
freezing.
super. Oh, God.
No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say I was supersetting like everything when I was bodybuilding because I hated resting during bodybuilding workouts. So I was going like full FOAD mode where I was just kind of walking around.
Got any other ones that come to your mind? This is your most experienced supersetter.
I remember one time I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try doing a superset of overhead press and then French press." Obviously that's not a good idea if you're trying to bias your shoulders. That was the craziest tricep pump I've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something.
I don't think that's a good, like, I'm not saying that's like ideal training scenario, but I was just like, I'm gonna try it.
Not to be on the. I think it's a. Every time I watch a lot of lifting content, which gives me like some idea of what I want to talk about on here. Every time I watch something and it's just like, hey, guess what we're doing today? We're circle jerking about how obnoxious science-based lifters are again. I'm like, I agree, but this is played out. Or like, we're complaining about social media influencers and how they just, you gotcha state. They just,
We've never fell into that hole.
yeah, we've never done.
This is a positivity podcast.
Yeah, we don't do that shit. But
That's
like,
the number one positivity podcast.
it just become like, okay, well, this is just becomes like fucking jerking off about something that we all, basically everybody agrees on already, which is that like, ooh, the super clickbaity short form content maybe isn't the best way to. But one thing that's really hurt that I think is a shame is for a while there we were all kind of a little bit more kumbaya with like, hey, anything from this rep range to this rep range works. We got this idea that like a lot of things work. So different guys have different training styles, and different training styles have different pros and cons. And you could like, and so you could find the training style that you vibe with the most and become an expert at it. And now all of this stuff has led people to believe that like certain training styles are just for dumb fucks. So like higher pace training, atrocious, right? I understand the arguments, but I still think that what you're gaining, and I think even the smart people that would take umbrage with what I was saying there would say, yes, but I agree that these optimizations, we're only talking about like the top 10 to 20%. But if we can have crazy adherence for that bottom 80%, we'll still get a very good result. So someone who just adores higher pace training. I understand the arguments for longer rest times being more optimal. People who like more superset dominant training, I understand the arguments against it. But the fact that people would become like experts in these style of higher pace training, like Kirsten mentioned, FOAD was an example of a bodybuilder that really liked just like 45 minutes of just go. And just put like, there is no up and down. You stay up for 45 minutes to 1 hour and then you bounce. And he just really liked that style of training. And I think it's a shame that people are all being filtered if they're getting their info from the same place into like one training style. Some people are going to hate that training style and they're going to burn out in the gym entirely, you know? And so I liked when the narrative was, hey, there's the more Brian Alsruhe style. Like, do I think that more rest times would like get you even stronger than the Brian Alsruhe style? All things other equal, yes. But you're also gonna be in way better shape. And some people would say, well, that's dumb. You should, that's just fucking, you're getting in shape with lifting. You should get in shape with your conditioning and separate those two things out. Fuck it. They're going to be in better shape than I am, right? Like there's pros and cons. And I really like that era of like styles, You have the Jay Cutler style and the Dorian Yates style.
On the topic of cool supersets, I also love the mythos of like, this is a badass workout.
Yeah.
Like, there's not even logic. It's just like, this one's a rad workout.
Well, we were
and
doing
it's just like 85 upper back motions in a row.
We were
like,
doing that with back.
That's fucking rad.
We're like, well, you could do a cable machine, but what if you just did a really heavy barbell and then a really heavy dumbbell and then pull-ups?
Or workouts that are on one station. So tempting to me all the time. Like, they're like squats into good mornings, into rack pulls. Like, is that fucking stupid? Hell yeah. But also, you're not leaving that one rack for 2 hours, and that's the coolest thing that I can think of.
I also think that like sometimes same muscle supersets. I understand all the arguments against it, but sometimes it feels so productive, and a bunch of people would say you're assigning too much value to like a pump or sore, whatever. Like you're misattributing things to think it's productive.
Dude, you think about these dorks way too often. Let me just say that.
Well, I just like
You're always contextualizing your thoughts within like
I
what
want
these
to
dorks would
understand other
think.
people's perspectives.
I don't.
Sometimes they're gonna,
I go through my life and it just be like, I have the good right opinion. And I don't even realize that people disagree with me.
Me and Paris were talking about it a while ago. It's like sometimes like pre-fatigue techniques, holy fuck, they feel so productive. Like if I do dips, I'm very strong at dips. I can do a technique that biases the tricep. It feels like pretty productive. If I do dips, either in a superset or after doing like a tricep extension first, the degree to which they're productive for my triceps feels way different. And one is I don't have to put 5 plates on there to do 8 reps. And 2, it makes it feel so much more definitively like my tricep is the rate limiter than when I do it fresh. So I kind of get, like, I would watch old Evan Centopani workouts, and that would be something he would do, is he would, like, do a set of pullovers and then barbell row. And it's like, oh, you're hurting your output, you're hurting your mechanic. But I was like, I get it, because then when I barbell, I take that big compound, I feel very definitively that if I keep my form good, my lats are what fill. Very quick, like, my low back isn't what gives, nothing else is what gives, my lats are what gives up.
Freezing cold gym or hot gym worse?
You guys are weenies about this, so what's your perspective?
Here's the thing. I don't know anyone else who has trained in as cold of a gym as you / I.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten some like actual sub-freezing sessions in. Like
Sub-freezing is understatement of the century. I've had a 35 below workout.
In the garage, which is
35
not insulated.
30, I think minus 30, there's a guess, but minus 37 Fahrenheit is the same as minus 37 Celsius.
So yeah, you guys also have context of that, Europeans.
So cold.
And our gym does not have
doesn't heat up.
insulation.
No.
So it's really, it is fucking very cold in there.
Yeah.
So
It
that
like
is
hurts your hand when you grab the bar. Maybe it hurts my hand when I grab the bar because it's
that
so
normally
cold.
feels sharp when
That
it's that
does
cold.
the bars be like I forget, it was JF who, man, that guy's got the same claim to this we do. I've seen his fucking workouts.
If JF Groen wants to call me a pussy, so be it.
there are people I will take a huge L from, right? It's like if Branch Warren wants to say like your gym is not that hot, I'd be like, you right, boss. And if JF wants to tell me it's not that cold, like, I've seen him do a 450-pound Atlas stone outside in the snow. Like, I don't even know how tacky works there. Yeah, fair enough. I'm a pussy. But I don't know. I don't mind either of them.
It's crazy.
Kirsten and Max have been getting bodied.
If I could not open the garage door, hot is so much worse to me. Because I get, like, it feels so, like, claustrophobic. Cold, it sucks just because you have to keep wearing so many clothes, and I don't like having to, like, have a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie on, and, like, having to squat or bench.
See, that's
Yeah.
so funny. I probably is just a matter of getting used to it because I am deeply antisocial, and so I was like, do I go to the gym in town and have people, or do I work out in my negative 30-degree gym? I'm gonna work out in my negative. I just got so used to like double hoodies. It doesn't. I feel like double hoodie doesn't get in my way very much. Double sweats doesn't
It
really get
feels
in my
less
way.
grippy.
I almost feel like I'm wearing a bench shirt if I'm wearing
Dude,
too
that sounds-
many
That's
hoodies.
the best. That's awesome.
You're telling me I can inflate my gym lifts more than I already do?
It's very, very cool. Sam it was accusing me of going lone wolf mode too much, and then I got too tired having to deal with the social aspect of having people work out with him in his home gym.
And then he
Yeah.
went lone wolf mode.
I was not going. I was
You're
just,
getting a little grumpy.
listen, I was just mad you guys ditz around for an hour before you start lifting.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Large Lads. If you guys want a funnier, awesome, more expensive episode,
Oh, yeah.
please hop on the fucking Patreon.
Yeah, if you like our stuff, we drop a second episode every single week on the Patreon. So
Also, if you just want to support the
listening to
channel and want to fucking give us cash, that's another option. You don't even have to listen to Large Lads if you're Larger Lads if you don't want to.